Welcome to Have History Will Travel. I am your host, the Wilder Historian, and I have poured through your replies to my last video about 3 battles or campaigns which were more important than Gettysburg, and I got some great comments, and this will be the first reply video for those comments. I got a bunch of comments in the comments below the video and in the Facebook groups that I posted the video in, and these stood out to me, mainly because there is a great book about the Emancipation Proclamation, not Antietam specifically, but because that battle gave Lincoln the confidence to issue the Emancipation Proclamation, it was a turning point. Politically, it is arguably the greatest political turning point in the war, matched only by the Overland Campaign and the March to the Sea that helped Lincoln win re-election. But I would place Antietam higher because of its international or foreign policy that it completed. From a military standpoint, Antietam stopped Robert E. Lee's first invasion of the North and forced the rebel commander back into the South. However, many historians see Antietam as a low point for the Union because of McClellan's lack of following up on the battle and bringing Lee to battle after the Southern Army was bloodied. Lincoln was distraught over the fact that McClellan did not pursue Lee, and it seemed as though the Union had missed a great opportunity. However, this battle took on more importance and stands out as more of a victory for the Union when we look at the change it created on the foreign policy front for the Lincoln administration and the war effort altogether. To explain this, I will be using Howard Jones's book Abraham Lincoln and a New Birth of Freedom, the Union and Slavery in Diplomacy of the Civil War. Normally, historians look at how the proclamation impacted the nation domestically, but Jones looks at how its issuance changed the war internationally. On the eve of the Battle of Antietam, it was up in the air whether Britain or France would support the Confederacy, but a good case was made that those two countries needed the staple crop of cotton to fuel their textile industry. Jones points out that before the battle, the Union openly dismissed statements that the war was about ending slavery, and that it was simply about restoring the Union. However, with the proclamation issued, this turned the war into a war over morals and announced that to the world. This pushed Britain and France over the edge for staying neutral in the war. An important factor came into play for each nation in their decision to stay out of the war. With the establishment of the Civil War becoming a moral war through the Emancipation Proclamation, Britain's moral standing turned them away from the South, but they also needed cotton. However, they found a supply that would last them through the war in their colony of India. Now, the cotton that came from India was not the well-grown and packed cotton of the American South, but it did help England's textile industry until the war ended. Once the war ended, the South again became the main producer for England's cotton. My first video I did for this channel was about the cotton grown in India, so check that out if you want to see how that production went in the English colony. From reading Jones's book, it appears that the moral issue was not as impactful on France as it was on Britain. Although it made them rethink their possible actions, Antietam was one deterrent in a long line of deterrents militarily that France received during the war, namely Gettysburg and Vicksburg. But the turn against the Confederacy started, like with Britain, with the Emancipation Proclamation issued because of the Union stopping the South at Antietam. I hope you enjoyed my response to your comments about whether Antietam was a turning point. I definitely agree with Howard Jones in stating that on the foreign policy front, yes, Antietam was most definitely a turning point. Thank you all, and I will see you next time.